Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been a hot minute since I have posted a video on my channel, and I have missed you guys. I kind of had this thing where I didn't really know what I wanted to post next. I feel like the season of college and college decisions and everything like that is coming to an end very, very soon. And most of my videos are about things revolving around college and decisions and dorms and life hacks and school hacks and everything kind of in that spectrum. So I was kind of, just sitting here wondering, okay, well, now that season is kind of done, what am I going to film next? And here I am back with another video, so I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. But today I wanted to talk and share with you guys an exciting announcement going on in my personal life. And that is that I'm going to be starting a new job as a Marriott manager. So I'm super excited to share that with you guys. If you have scrolled back to my first video, you would know that I made a video all about the Voyage program January of last year of 2020. And here I am coming full circle making another Marriott video. This one is going to be all about the interview process, if maybe you're interested yourself in applying to any Marriott jobs. I'm going to go over kind of a little bit of the process and some of the interview questions. I have written down the exact questions that they asked me, so I'm going to be sharing that with you guys. If you are someone who likes to be super prepared before an interview, I would love to help you out. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So if you remember in my first video, I talked all about how I was able to secure my internship with Marriott and the process of what that was like. And while it is a little bit similar, of course, with the pandemic and everything that has happened since 2019, a lot has happened since 2019, the process has changed a little bit and it's become obviously much more digital. So I wanted to go over the process this time around with you guys as well. Starting off, I got an email about a month and a half ago, I believe, probably more like 2 months ago, telling me to apply for this new management position, this new management role. And so I went ahead and applied early action, and from there I had a phone call interview. It was very brief, like about 3 questions. And then after that, I had a assessment that I had to take, which if that's something that you're worried about, you don't need to be worried about it, because as I mentioned in my first video, you're not going to be disqualified from your answers that you give in that assessment. It's really just kind of to get a more gauge on your personality and how you go about doing your work. So it's really nothing to be scared of. So the next step is going to be self-recorded videos. I know a lot of people could kind of be turned off by the sound of that, and I was too. It's kind of a little bit, it feels just kind of impersonal recording yourself and sending it in versus sitting down face to face, obviously, and talking with someone. Feel like you don't really get the same sense of someone's personality through a computer screen, but it's just part of the process, just something you have to do to be able to go to the 4th step, which is the final sit-down Zoom interview. I will say, if you are worried about the self-recorded videos, I will let you know that they only ask you 3 questions. They say it's 5, but 2 of them are just not actual videos. It's just a questionnaire type of thing. I think they just ask you if you need any type of sponsorship and if you're authorized to work in the United States. Additionally, if you record yourself, you get 30 seconds to see the question that they're going to ask you. And so you have 30 seconds to think, oh, okay, I'm going to use this example, or I'm going to talk about this time I did something. And then you have 3 minutes to record your actual answer. If you are unhappy with your video, you do get 3 chances to record and submit. They will make you submit your 3rd and final one, so just make sure that if you really don't like the first 2 you did, that you really nail it on your last one, because you don't get more than 3 chances. So just make sure, keep that in mind basically. Okay, so the 4th and final step in the interview process is to do a sit-down Zoom interview, and you get paired up with a different property, a general manager at a different property, and they have people from all over the US who participate in that. So that's pretty cool. You get to at least network a little bit in that way. Looking back, a lot of the process is the same in the sense that you still have to do the assessment, you still have to do the self-recorded videos, and you still have to do the 2 interviews. First the initial one, and then the last and final one. And obviously the biggest thing that is different is now, beforehand I flew to Texas and I got to do so much networking with so many different general managers throughout the United States, as well as my peers who were also applying to this role, and it was such a cool experience, but obviously they can't have that with the pandemic, so it was a little bit of a bummer, but also, still cool to be able to at least network with one person. One's so much better than nothing, Now let's talk about the actual style of interviewing that Marriott uses, and that is going to be something called the star-based interview question, or questions. And what that looks like is, I'm sure most of you who are watching this have obviously applied to other roles before, and you'll kind of notice, especially as time has progressed, a lot of interviews don't look the same as how they used to look. Now, most of the time, speaking from someone who's done a lot of interviews within the past couple months, it's just kind of a one-on-one thing, and you're sitting down with someone and they're kind of just going through your resume, saying like, what did you do in this role, and what were your tasks, and what was a typical day like, and what were you like in this role, and what were your tasks, what were your days like, what did you learn from that role, type of thing. Versus a star-based interview is much more, I don't want to say formal, because it can be very just conversational if you kind of know what you're doing and you know how to prepare for it, but it is formal in the sense that it's not as casual as just sitting down and going through your resume. It's actual questions that they are asking you to get a hold of, can you do this job well? It's not too much about yourself and your personality and what you've learned from other roles. It's more, can you do this role, and give me some examples. So just a little bit of the basics. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. So a lot of the times the questions will sound something like, tell me about a time you did this, or go over a situation where you had to deal with this, and so on and so forth. So the biggest pieces of advice that I can give about interviews like this is, don't overthink it. It really is just them asking you questions and you answering. Like, I know that sounds silly, but really that's the truth. It's not like, oh, I need to make sure I'm going over this, like, super clearly, which it is true. Like, they want you to give as much detail as possible, just because it kind of helps them out to understand the situation that you were in at the time. And they will tell you before you even start the interview, like, this is the type of interview that we do, this is how it kind of goes, and this is what I'm looking for in your answers. And also, they, like I said, they tell you straight up, we want you to give as much detail as possible. That being said, still, I know it's kind of easy to overthink interviews like this, but you really don't need to, because I just feel like that will kind of hinder the experience, because you're going to feel like a little bit more nervous. If they feel like they didn't quite clearly understand your answer, they will go back and be like, for example, you talked about the situation, you talked about the tasks, and then you wrapped it up and said this was the result. They will go back and say, oh, so what were the actions that you took to achieve that result, if they feel like they weren't super clear on that. And that's happened to me before, and that's not to say like, oh, that's a strike against you, and now, now you're knocked out and not considered for the position anymore, which totally not true. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people get nervous in interviews, especially virtual ones, because they're a little bit less impersonal, or they're a little bit less personal. So it's minimal, but just make sure that you do give like all those details. Okay, so lastly, I'm sure this is the part that everyone has been waiting for. Here are the exact questions that they asked me, and like I said, this is very fresh, very new. I just got offered the job today, so as of April 2021, these are the current questions. I'm sure they mix them up, but I'm just going to let you guys know what they asked me. So in my first initial interview, like I said, they did go over my resume a little bit, and I talked about my role at the time and some of the tasks and whatever. They also asked me a time when I showed teamwork, and they asked me about a time when I dealt with a difficult customer, and lastly about a time that I built a relationship with the customer. So like I said, make sure that you just include those details. So for the self-recorded videos part, these are the questions they asked me. Why are you interested in this position, and what experience do you have to be a good fit for it? What traits do you have that will make you a good candidate? And I can't remember number 3. I think it was asking me what sets me apart, or why I wanted to work for Marriott, and yeah. Okay, so for my final interview, this is what they asked me. Tell me about a time when you weren't able to meet a deadline. Tell me about a time where you had to use a new system or way of doing things. What are your pet peeves at work? What makes you happy and motivated? And tell me about a time where you had to deal with an irate customer. So I hope that helps you out if you are someone who likes to be super prepared for interviews, likes to know what they're going to say before they even ask. I know some people are like that, and some people would rather just not know and would rather be asked and kind of go with the flow. Either way, I hope I was able to help you out a little bit in this video. If you are interested in any other videos, you can go ahead and leave requests for me down below. I pretty much do every request that I get because I don't get that many. If you are interested in watching my other video about how I got my internship, I will link that in the description box below if you happen to miss that one. It's also the first video I ever uploaded on my channel if you want to just scroll and find it yourself. But I think that's it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and go, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys, and I really do appreciate everyone who watches my videos. It seriously makes me so happy. If you have any questions or anything, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is @JujuBickle, and every time I get a message on there, I'm always like, oh my god, like my internet friends from one social media are now on my other social media, and it's like, I feel like we're actually really friends, and it makes me really happy. So if you want to follow me or ask me any questions, if you have anything to ask me, whether it's regarding Marriott, whether it's regarding my college videos, whatever it may be, follow me, message me, and I will definitely get back to you. But yeah, I'm actually going to leave now, and I will see you guys in my next video.